Hello, I'm Toycat and welcome back to the second channel video. This is mainland Europe. It's a place you might have heard of, and this is a country just off the coast of it called the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland. And as you might guess from that country name, it's not just made up of Great Britain, this landmass right here, but there's actually a ton of islands which come off that island, and one of the most famous of them is the island of Ireland. But before we talk about that anymore and get petrol bombed, we'll leave that to the side and instead reference the rest of the British Isles, because the entirety of this channel was just kind of formed as me dicking around on Google Maps and sharing it with the internet. And if I'm being honest with you, I was procrastinating making another video when I started dicking around on Google Maps and finding islands like the Ramsey Island or the the Skoma Island, Stockholm Island. What sort of a name is that? Or even like stuff like the Lundy Island. I started finding about all these islands, and I just figured it'd be interesting to share some of the findings with you. Maybe you want that, maybe you don't. If you don't, I don't know. Second channel, wrong place for you. Also, just remember not to subscribe before we get right into this, because if you're on the edge about subscribing, it's okay, you don't have to. Speaking of things you don't have to do, caring about geography, obviously in this channel we kind of tie it into weird maps about culture and peoples and geopolitics, etc. And Anglesey is the greatest island for that. I've referenced this one before because it is the gateway to Ireland. Holyhead is how most people get to Dublin, and I've also referenced before that in Wales, most people do not speak Welsh, except in the northwest of the country around Snowdonia. As you can see, 60% of the population do speak Welsh, and also on the Anglesey Island. This is really interesting to me for two reasons. One is because, yeah, the most Welsh part of Wales is actually an island off the coast of Wales, and secondly, because that island is then made up of its own islands. So the Great Britain is an island off the coast of Europe, Anglesey is an island off the coast of Great Britain, and then Holyhead and the Holy Island. It's probably Holyhead, not Holyhead, huh? But the Holy Island right here is actually an island off the coast of that island itself. In fact, most of these things work like fractals. You can see how there are then islands coming off of that, and then there's islands coming off of that, and it just goes islands all the way down, because when you're dealing with big land masses, that tends to happen. And yeah, I want to mention before I go anywhere else in this video, because this is a very Welsh island. If you zoom into any part of this place, such as this town right here, I want to mention though, before we go into those things, that obviously on this channel, I do get my pronunciations correct 100% of the time. I practice them very strongly, and so if you think I've got the pronunciations wrong, maybe, it's very unlikely. Let me know in a comment down below anyway, but this is Landfair, and as you can see, if we go down to the Deer Lake Chinese takeaway, even the Chinese takeaway, okay, so even the Chinese takeaway, okay, what do we actually got right here? So as you can see, even the Wedding Bell shop is in Welsh first. Even if we go further down the road, what's this? Tafarn Taigim, it's in Welsh. If we keep going down this road, you're going to see how everything we find is actually going to be partially in Welsh, because the people that speak here really, like their Welsh identity. Like, even their COVID-19 sign over here, it says Cadwick Ike Pelter before keep your distance, because what's important when you're informing people about COVID-19 is not doing it in the language the majority of people understand, which might be the second one, but instead is asserting that Welsh is the language of the land here. Also, who needs to learn about COVID-19 from a lamppost? Look at the street view. This is from December 2021. Who is just now learning, like, oh, there's something called COVID out there? I better keep my distance. Thank you, lamppost. I get all my news from you. And if that's true, then, whatever. Anyway, with that said, this is the island of the Anglesey. And, yeah, there's all sorts of great places around here, such as Llanfyrog, or there's Llanfecl, or there's Landy Fry Dog. It's a really cool Landy Fry Dog. There's Landy Fry Dog right here, which is a great little village, which they have a little triangle. Is that a roundabout, or is that just a little traffic triangle? It's kind of like a roundabout if you really think about it. It's a roundabout. And yeah, come to Landy Fry Dog, come to the island of Anglesey. I do want to mention, because we're talking about like the Welsh language, it's really interesting because the exact same thing is true if you go up to Scotland. Scotland has so many more islands than Wales, but it has the same effect. I've mentioned this before, the islands tend to, I don't want to say preserve their culture, but they tend to have a bigger gap in their culture than distance would suggest, because there's less movement across it. And so the island of Arran is no doubt, rather than having any doubt about whether they speak Scottish Gaelic there, let's consult this handy map and find out that, oh, they speak no Gaelic on the island of Arran. But if you look at the, that's the island of Arran there, right? I'm pretty sure. Yep, okay, well, you know what, bad, cool with that one. But on other islands, such as, up here we have Stornoway is the big city on this island. The islands of Skye, I know, is one of these. On these islands, you can see that because of that away from the mainland effect, 70 to 75% of the population are actually speaking Gaelic in some parts of this, with 50 to 60 being the low percentage. You can see that these islands have the exact same effect, and that's what makes them so interesting. If you're an airline guy, you know that these islands are interesting to... there's an airport on a beach around here. It's super interesting. You know what else is super interesting? The fact that there are these just like little concealed like civilizations existing on an island off the coast of the very remote regions of this country, and I just think that's kind of cool. You can see like a weird twisted version of the same culture that you'll see elsewhere, because again, it's got the same roots, but it goes off in very different directions, depending on how those things get there. Even if you look over here, is this actually an island? This is an island. Even if you look at, for instance, Portree, it's the exact same thing. I remember I looked at Portree because I went to a pub website around here at some point. But yeah, that we can go to the Sea Breezes seafood restaurant and get local langoustines, that's definitely how you say it. And yeah, it's pretty good, but you can't get a reservation online apparently. Also, I love that there's an Indian restaurant in every town. Have to mention that over and over again. Speaking of things I have to mention over and over and over again, the fact that, yeah, if you look at Scotland, the same thing is true. And a lot of people look at these maps as like proof of some form of like, like they'll say it's like colonialism from England, as if Scotland is like some colony of England somehow. It's like, even making that stretch for Ireland / Northern Ireland is like really pushing it. But arguing Scotland, which like deliberately joined its crown with England in the 1600s, you're kind of pushing the definition of colony by every conceivable measure. But if that is your argument, let me talk to you about the Isle of Man. It is a quasi-independent part of the United Kingdom. It exists under the UK for like defense reasons, but they have their own currency that's just pegged to the pound, and they have their own set of laws, including most famously, no speed limits. But even the Isle of Man, which has its whole own ability to retain its own culture, including the Manx language, this is what they've done. Oh, it's a big map. This is what they've done. Look how high resolution that is. You see the quality in this video, by the way? Wait, something that I'm hoping happens. Because every time I talk about one of these islands, I'm flashing the text on screen. Probably, maybe, I don't know how editing works. But because I'm doing that every single time, I'm praying that it'll do little chapters on YouTube. So if you see chapters, I've worked out the system. And if you don't see chapters, then I've put that all on screen for nothing. By the way, to come back here, because we've gone through the Welsh, the Scottish, and the Manx in this kind of like island effect that like, okay, even when they're trying to preserve their culture, because the Island of Man is putting effort in, you actually need to put a lot of resources in just to keep people speaking the less... Again, I'm saying less useful and people are going to be offended, but it's less useful in the sense that fewer people speak it. How many people speak Manx? Well, the Isle of Man population is about 60,000, something like that. Maybe it's 30,000. It's in the tens of thousands, and a percentage of them speak it, whereas what's the population of English speakers in the world? Even if we ignore the geographic proximity of most English speakers, or a lot of English speakers, it's like, well, there's 60,000 Manx speakers, and like, what, 350 million English speakers over here somewhere? It's, I'm just saying that there is more use to your language outside of speaking to the man at the pub. Should we look around this island, though? I've never seen anything. I didn't know that they had a little town called Little Switzerland. So now I want to look around it and see what's going on. We got St. John's over here. We got a town called Peel. When you go down to your local ice cream parlor, which by the way, that sounds good. Could do with some ice cream by the beach. Look at that. Gold medal winning Manx luxury dairy ice cream. Don't you want that? Bacon or sausage baps and an ice cream at the same time? You probably, it might be great to be able to speak to them using your Manx, but do you want to speak to other people? I don't know. I actually met a Welsh nationalist. Because I was in the really Welsh part of Wales. I didn't realize it till I was there. I was in Bala, I think it was. By the way, do you want to see a co-op food that I've been to in Bala? And I know most of my stories on this channel are like, why did you go to this weird place? And it's like, okay, something dating a girl. But the reason I was in Bala is actually because I was going to Snowdon, the mountain around which Snowdonia is formed. And so, if you think about it, I've moved on. I've reached a higher form. If we, editor, can you do a meme? The list woman and then like all the downsides of women and then put a mountain on screen with all the upsides of mountain. Mountains are better than women. They won't ever leave you until, the geological collapse in 250 million years. How many of the women in your life have lasted a quarter of a billion years? I don't think so. Speaking of things that you might not know about, there is we also, the Cross Fox is in. Is that like, are they foxes that are mad, or is that foxes at a crossroad? I want to know so bad. I also think it's so quaint just to have like, you're driving around and there's like, it's literally a crossroads inn, right? This is, man, this is what I like about rural places. It's so quirky. Speaking of things that are quirky, islands, right? I think I meant to talk about them. So next up on the list, I wanted to talk about something a little closer to home. This is London. It has just about as many people as this island over here, and about 150 times as many people as this island right here, even though it's similar, size. Wow, isn't that crazy? There's a big city out here. Someone tell me why you think that London is so big. Give me a nice 6-paragraph comment down below. I'd actually enjoy reading that. I might actually, read it rather than skipping it like usual. Anyway, so with that said, I want to talk about some islands around here because there was famously a wet wipe island that formed because we just flush our sewage into the Thames. Even now, apparently. But something really interesting that happened is something interesting that's happened in the past, I should say, is this idea of Boris Island. And Boris Island, or London Britannia, is actually an ideal to take one of the Shivering Sands Island off the Isles of Sheppey. So that is right over here. Where's Shivering Sands? Where are you? Is this the Shivering Sands? Anyway, so they wanted to take this island and turn it into a big London airport. Right now, all the London airports are in fairly urban areas. There's literally one right here, surrounded by, London. It's suburban London, but it's London. Then there's one in Gatwick, it's like kind of avoiding that, but like, oh, it goes over this little town with its McDonald's, and there's like Crawley's right nearby. Okay, so this doesn't work. Neither of these airports can take passengers after midnight. Even the same is true for Luton. I mean, it's got one of the biggest towns that isn't a city in the name. If you want to fly out of London Luton, you're going to have to fly over the former, rest in peace. You're going to have to fly over the former Best Kebab. Oh, they're open again. They closed, but I guess they've reopened. I like to believe... No, they've definitely changed their branding, right? This is not the same... Wait, is it... This has got to be different. Best Kebab is great. I learned about it in a YouTube video. Had to try it. Are they actually back? I'm sorry. See, this is what this channel is all about. Not learning anything and instead looking up Best Kebab. No, that looks very close to me. This is May 2022. I don't think they're actually back. I think that they are very much gone. And the delicious Turkish kebabs will never be with us again. But you can get an MOT at least. This house looks like really modern, right? I know it's actually old-timey, but it looks like modern cladding. Looks like... Anyway, speaking of things that look interesting and modern, so all of the airports around London have this problem of taking up overpopulation centres. Even London Stansted, there's like a tiny town, but the tiny town's quite big because it's near an airport. Stansted Mount Fitchett is what it's named after. It's fairly big for a town near an airport because it's a town near an airport. So the idea is, what if we build an airport where places that no one would be willing to live, and they came up with the Isle of Sheppey. Sorry, Isle of Sheppians. You know what? You deserve this. You live on the Isle of Sheppey. So the Isle of Sheppey is a really... That's how I'm gonna just cut off any criticism in the future. Like, Toy Cat, you're being really insensitive to this group. It's like, well, that group deserves it. Did they not choose to be born there? I think they did. Anyway, so the Isle of Sheppey was this idea that, we could build this island. The popular nickname was Boris Island. And it was a brand new airport. It was a really exciting idea. And the idea was that they could connect it not only to London, and you could fly in and you could not have to avoid population centers. So 24-hour flights. You could replace Heathrow as a big hub because right now flights are kind of split between Heathrow for super long haul, Gatwick for like cheap long haul, and then there's Stansted for budget airlines. There's Luton for even more budget airlines that are mostly flying to Poland for whatever reason, or like Eastern Europe. And there's this weird split between airports. Why not have one mega airport? And they could build it on the Isle of Sheppey. Then get this right, they had the exact same idea, the Thames Hub Airport, also creatively nicknamed Boris Island, nicknamed after Boris Johnson, Mayor of London. Do you think he got up to anything after becoming Mayor of London? I don't reckon so. Anyway, so this guy was like, what if we built on the Isle of Grain? Which, side note, the Isle of Grain, as best I can tell, is actually not an island. It's like a town on the greater island of... it's a town on the greater, not even an island. Is this an island or not, though? I think it is not, but maybe, it's really hard to be sure. Anyway, so this Isle of Grain right here was a great idea, because you only have to demolish a few people's house. Do they care about their village hall and their secret surgery? Is it really a secret surgery? It's a plastic surgeon. What is and there's an alpaca farm? Okay, now I'm invested. Anyway, so this was a place where they were going to build the airport a second time, and the long story short is they basically concluded that it would cost like 100 billion, and also, even although all the advantages would be here, their biggest advantage would be trying to, compete with Dubai and all of, like other major airports. But then they concluded like, well, actually, I don't think we would do that because, like just a new airport doesn't solve our problems. And also they wanted to get on the Eurostar connection, but they're nowhere near it. And the idea was just a bad idea. And here's the problem. Placing airports where people are not is a bad idea because you need to get them to where they want to be. But placing airports where people are is also a bad idea because now you get noise complaints and you look like, absolute monsters. And long story short, things be hard, I guess. Speaking of things being hard, I want to talk to you about because the famous island is the Isle of Wight. I feel like if we're talking about inbred islands, should we just dive in real hard and talk about how much I hate the Isle of Wight? You might as well. It's island culture to hate islands smaller than you, so why not? That's my new phrase right here. And so yeah, I also want to talk to you about places like Aldeburgh and Frinton-on-Sea and Walton-on-the-Nazi. It's called Walton-on-the-Nazi, but it does have a White's Pie and Mash shop in Walton-on-the-Nazi. I'm sorry. I just feel like they know what they're doing with that, right? Like, you can't, it's the year 2020, but not in 2022 even. But apparently not in beach towns. Apparently not over there. Although you can get eels. That is really surreal. I know it's just like the last name is Whites, by the way. And I know that Nazi is probably pronounced Naze. It might be Nazy though, right? I don't know how you pronounce it. But yeah. Well, Google Maps is stuck on this page, so I guess we're gonna be looking around Walton and the Narts for a while. So anyway, now if you look, I wanted to talk to you about an island which is the opposite of Nazis, because what is the opposite of that? I hear you asking. Skomer Island. I just found out about this because I was looking into puffins, and I saw that apparently there are puffins on this island. Do you want to see them? This is a puffin colony in Skomer Island, Wales. Look out. Okay, I don't know what it is about puffins that makes people like them so much, but like, look how stupid they look. Look how ridiculously stupid these animals are. Look at this guy. Look at them. Look at them all. They walk stupid, they look stupid, and there's something about stupid looking animals that just makes you love them, right? Like, I want to go here so bad. And so you know what I did? I looked into it. Apparently, all you got to do is you pay 20 quid for the ferry from the Dale Island. Is it Dale? Who cares? And yeah, if you want to go, here's Dale. There you go. You got to come to Dale. Or Darley, maybe, we could say. And yeah, you can go to Skomer Island. It's an island that seems to exist solely for puffins. For real, if I show you around, it's like, okay, you go for a little walking trail, and then you find there's some accommodation. It's nice that someone runs that. It's a very well-maintained building, as you can see. And yeah, then there's puffins around here. Can we see the puffins on Google Maps? This is August, so I think it's outside of puffin season. Again, I got really enthusiastic to go to an island in Wales for puffins. It's only a 5-hour journey from London, so I mean, it's totally worth doing to go see one of these stupid little animals. Look at their faces. Look at their faces. Anyway, so this is Skomer Island. I thought it was very interesting. And again, there's an island off of Skomer Island, and then there's an island off of that island, and it goes all the way down. Just like how, speaking of going all the way down, that is something you're going to need to do to come to Lundy Heritage Coast, because this is an island right here. It's a nature reserve too. But if you want to get there, according to their website, it's going to be expensive, and in exchange, all you get to see is one deer. This is the wildlife on the island, which is impressive. There's deer there, I guess. How did the deer get there? Did he come on a boat? Did someone bring him on a boat? I don't know. But yeah, if you look at the wildlife... Oh, there's also puffins there. Maybe it's worth seeing. But yeah, if you actually look at the price, it is going to cost you £85 for a sailing ticket, a period return, or £149 for a helicopter. Honestly, at that price, you've got to admit, like, well, yeah. But also, I guess a day ticket's only £48. I feel like, a helicopter ticket would be pretty cool. Would be really cool. Or maybe not. Maybe I'm being silly. Oh, you can also do sail one way, helicopter one way. Only available twice a year. Also pretty cool, huh? So yeah, they've got lots of options. And what you can do here is look at one deer. And maybe also some puffins. Maybe sometimes. Oh, also below the waves, they have some crabs or something. Isn't that cute? Maybe it is. Maybe it isn't. So, yeah, before we move on to the greatest and best island of all time, I do need to reference that this video has been terrible, and thank you for sticking with it. I like these just easy, lazy, low effort, zero production quality Google Maps videos, because I think it is fun just to like, I really do think it's worth saying, just dicking around on Google Maps is so much fun. There are so many weird places where this, like someone, whenever they open up Google Maps, it's like, this is what they see. They see the Scary's Bistro and the missing bell, and like it's something that you would never look at otherwise. I mean, again, I'm gonna try and find an island on the spot right now I've never heard anything about. Like, you know, this this is a bad island. Okay, so let's go for one of these weird Scottish islands. This one right here, Mid Park. You look at Mid Park, and it's like, huh, this is an odd island, right? Yeah, I just think it's pretty fun to look at. I was even just enjoying, like, because I played City Skylines, and I think the game's called Highways. It's like an Android game where you make traffic flow really well. Don't know why I enjoy it so much, but I was just enjoying looking on the map right here. This junction, which is clearly a roundabout that they built, and then they had to give like separate spurs, or like, what are these little bypasses called? But they had to add the roundabout got too crowded clearly, so now it's a roundabout with you know, it's got everyone can go left without having to go to the roundabout. So it's a roundabout just for people turning right. It's people coming here and going there, people going there and coming here, and people going over there. Yeah, that's what it is. It's a really confusing roundabout in that way. And yeah, I just find it to be fascinating, the junctions. Like, you know, look at this one right here. This is the more stereotypical example that exists in the UK. But because of the curve around these, if you want to go from here to there, like rather than building all these extra roads, right now you have to go up here, around there, go around the roundabout, you know, lots of junction traffics. Then you got to go around here, go around this roundabout a second time, and then you're going. Whereas they could just have like a little slip road. And it's like there's space to add it too. There's just trees. There is the space to make this happen, but they haven't done it. And I don't know, I could talk about the interesting things like this that I just, for some reason, I'm interested in. Like, look at this roundabout down here. Do you see this? It's a roundabout circle, but then there's like a bypass for the A13 to go over it. But then there's like a little junction coming off of that to take you onto the roundabout. And then they've got the same on the reverse direction. But then also, clearly there's, you know, like there's a little, what would you even call this here? Like, this is the strangest looking roundabout I've seen. Because to let people come off the A road and go right, they added like a little crossover the roundabout, but they used junctions for it, so you go right across the roundabout rather than all the way left, which is interesting, because from going all the way left, I'm making the guess, that if you wanted to, you could just keep following the thing around, and so you get to choose whether you go around the roundabout or across it. Can you really just do that, by the way? I want to confirm. Just make sure we got this right. Yeah, if you feel like it, it takes a bit of time, but if you do feel like it, you can go all the way around the roundabout, and then you'll end up in the exact same place as if you just go across it. And again, it's fascinating because each of these things was added at some point, and they all clearly made sense. But yeah, it's just as interesting to me to look at what humans do with our environment. Look at this right here. Oh, actually, wait, I was going somewhere recently. I went to the Lakeside Shopping Center, and they have this. They have double roundabouts, but they blocked off one of the sides of the double roundabouts to make it, you know, the actual road looks like this. It's like, you could have gone that way round, but because of the roundabout, you go like round, and you make a left turn, you make a 270-degree turn to turn right, which is super weird. Then you go across the bridge, which is now one way because they've removed the roundabout, although they've still shortened the bridge and what could be a lane is still removed, whatever. And then this way around the roundabout's the same. You can't go back onto the road. Instead, you go all the way around it, and it's just fascinating to me. I really can't get over how weird that is. But you know what else is weird? Actually, wait. Yeah, there'd be no reason for this part to exist or that part to exist without having some way for you to like go somewhere, I guess. You know, what were they previously there for? I just want to know all these answers. And yeah, this is a video dedicated to why procrastinating is bad. And for one more interesting island, I want to talk to you about Stockholm. You know, there's a lighthouse on it, and it's called Stockholm, and there's a bay called the Wild Goose Bay. What's not to love? There's the Mad Bay, the Hog Bay, the Crab Bay, the Little Bay. I mean, it's all good. Also, okay, so there's a city in Scotland called Oban, right? I actually don't know where it is. It's one of the, you know what, let's find it real quick. Oban. This is Oban. It's not an island city. Actually, is it? No, it's not. So, Oban is a resort town, and it's weird because I found, YouTube just recommended me a video. Again, this is This video could be titled, Here's Things I Found While Procrastinating. And the entire island of Stewart Island, apparently, which is definitely a British Isles island, trust me. This video is on topic. But Stewart Island is really interesting because their big city is called Oban and has one police officer. And apparently they're just like, yep, he's the one police officer. If anything needs policing, it's him. And yeah, they don't have any prison cells or anything. So if he needs to arrest someone, he just like, you know, leaves them in his living room and says, I'm staying up all night with you. And I just think that's beautiful. I just enjoy that. And yeah, isn't it crazy? This is the other side of the world, but it looks like it could have been anywhere in my video today. Isn't that beautiful? I think that's beautiful. You know what else is beautiful? You for watching this video. No, for real. I think that you're probably more attractive than your peers by at least 5%. And if you like disingenuous comments like that, then be sure to subscribe to see more of these videos. But I'm only saying that because YouTubers have to say at the end. I only want you to subscribe if you want to, though. Like, I think having the number needlessly go up is worse than me saying, please unsubscribe. Have you been thinking to yourself, this guy's been off the mark for a few videos now? Unsubscribe. Honestly, won't be offended. It's better for my click-through rates if only people who are excited to see the videos subscribe. So I'm gonna make an impassioned plea that you are going to unsubscribe right now. And I hope you all enjoy this video because I'll see you in the next one whenever it happens. Because second channel, don't care. Bye.